When MA's Active, we were doing product for Lacoste. We were doing a lot of the product that they actually sell in at retail. But they also do game day product for the likes of Djokovic and Medvedev. And we wanted to win this category of doing the game day product for these performers. What Djokovic and Medvedev wore at the last recently concluded Australian Open in January was done by MA's Active. We engaged with a brand called Kayani. It's the first activewear brand in Saudi for the Middle Eastern women. This actually happened over Christmas. They signed up Ons Jabeur, who's an Arab tennis player, and they wanted us to do her kit for the Australian Open. So we had Djokovic and Medvedev, who, where we worked with Lacoste for at least 12 months to get their kits. And then we had Ons Jabeur, where we had to get her kit within a period of 6 weeks. This was the shortest we'd ever done. MA's perspective, I said it goes all the way up until board level. MA's has a very strong goal of having 30% in women in management. I will talk about a couple of projects. When MA's Active, we were doing product for Lacoste, and we were doing a lot of the product that they actually sell in at retail. But they also do game day product for the likes of Djokovic and Medvedev. And we wanted to win this category of doing the game day product for these performers, right? It was a very scientific process. We went to the various countries where we have the game day. We looked at what the court conditions are, what, say, the humidity factors, understood how the fabric behaves, what type of construction would be optimal, and we went and pitched this to the brand. And we were able to win that collection as a result. So what Djokovic and Medvedev wore at the last recently concluded Australian Open in January was done by MA's Active. Another project that I was part of, sort of piggybacking from this and taking all these learnings, we engaged with a brand called Kayani. It's the first activewear brand in Saudi for the Middle Eastern women. So they've got they're going about it in a very interesting way. They're looking at data points around how the Middle Eastern woman, her body, her fit is slightly different. She has a slightly longer torso. She's a bit fuller in the lower half, say, compared to the European woman, and taken all these data points and really coming up with a brand that serves her well. This actually happened over Christmas. They signed up Ons Jabeur, who's an Arab tennis player, and they wanted us to do her kit for the Australian Open. So we had Djokovic and Medvedev, who, where we worked with Lacoste for at least 12 months to get their kits. And then we had Ons Jabeur, where we had to get her kit within a period of 6 weeks. This was the shortest we'd ever done. We used our designers, so MA's Active's designers. Our development teams worked very closely with the customer and the customer teams, and got her kit ready in time, which she actually wore at the Australian Open. And it looked great. I talked about Ons Jabeur, and when we got the kit on her, we asked her, do you like it firstly? What type of product do you like? Do you like a skirt when you're playing tennis? Do you like a skirt or a short? What kind of colors do you like? And she actually, was taken aback, and she replied and said, actually, this is the first time anybody's asked me this. Previously, I was just given product and told wear it and go on court. And this shows, there's a big difference between women's games and men's, right? There's a lot of money that goes into men's games. Brands want to sponsor because there's a lot of eyeballs on it. Whereas women, it doesn't get highlighted the same way. But at MA's, we've done things a little differently. So when we looked at cricket, same thing here, our men's cricket team versus women's cricket team. Yes, we did the kit for the men's, but we also did all the kit for the women's. We were sponsoring them, so we'd do their game day kit, we'd do them smart kit that they could actually travel in, that they could attend some of the, the press conferences and the formal dinners, and we were very proud to do that. We also did that for our tennis teams. We have about 100,000 plus associates, our employees that actually work on the shop floor, all the way up to board level, right? And we have made a conscious decision to see how we empower women at all levels, and starting from the shop floor. So I've been in plants where for example, you've got associates and they come and they work on the shop floor, but they also provide transport to the plant. So they learn to drive and drive a van to work, and they will pick up their colleagues, and as a result, they earn, some side income. We also promote, so where, for example, women have aspirations of either doing hair or beauty, something entrepreneurial, that's something we promote. And in the plants, we have days where, you'll have, say, a professional come and talk to them about it and help them and give them tips for them to then go on and set up by themselves. And this has happened and continues to happen. From a company perspective, we also work with very responsible brands like Patagonia. So Patagonia is known as one of the world's leading brands from a sustainability point of view, not just environmental, mainly social. So Patagonia, it's about $1 billion, that company. And the CEO of that company, a year ago, he donated 98% of the company back to Earth. So their tagline is, Earth is our biggest shareholder. And for every $100 million they make, they actually put 98 million back into the Earth to kind of save planet Earth. And that's their mission statement. So working with them, they are part of a fair trade initiative. And within fair trade, what happens is the brand donates a percentage of whatever revenue that they pay us into a trust. And that goes to the betterment of the employees. So through fair trade with Patagonia, right, over the last so many years, we've actually accumulated over $1 million. And this has gone purely directly to the associates on the shop floor, right, and who work for this in these plants where we manufacture product for this customer. When we look at that money and how we disburse it, it's a committee that's formed by them, and they decide what they want. So for example, one year they wanted gold coins. Then through this, they have built, for example, wells for themselves. And because of some of our plants are in fairly remote areas like Ambilipitia, right? And I remember one lady mentioning that it was during COVID time, and she got internet connection because otherwise there was no way her kids were able to educate themselves. So we do a lot with the brand as well. Lastly, from an MS perspective, I said it goes all the way up until board level. MS has a very strong goal of having 30% in women in management. And we actually have 2 female representatives on the board at MAS Active, where I'm from. Our ExCo is actually half women. So our head of finance is a female, our head of HR is another lady, and I head the business marketing piece. Everything that I mentioned, from kind of empowering our associates on the shop floor, it means that yes, they come to work, they have fulfilling work, but we are also giving them a lifeline, to do more. So with whatever they've earned in terms of, some of the other little entrepreneurial things they've done, they've been able to educate children and really being able to afford them a better life as well as their families. And that's what's really meaningful. In terms of even creating that women in management, yes, it just looks like a statistic, but it's actually more than that, right? When you do that, what you now start having is female bosses. You start having good, strong women that you can look up to, right? That have to have a work-life balance because they don't have a wife at home looking after the kids and the house, right? And I think very inspiring for, younger women coming into the workforce because they know it's okay, it can be done. There are people who are doing it. When I was at Twinery, we invested out of Twinery into a company called Things, and just how important women are, right? And the cause for women. This company, Things, when we invested, it was about a $200,000 company. That's all they'd sold, and they were selling period underwear for women. Pads and tampons are not sustainable. Creates mountains of landfill. And the founder, she was a girl called Mickey Agrawal, and she was very passionate about the environment. And she started this company for reusable period underwear. And MAS invested into her company, and I actually met her a number of times, and we created product for them. And together, this company grew from like 200,000 over 2 years to, in its third year, making over $50 million of sales. And why was that, right? It's important to ask why. It was not just the whole kind of, oh, I don't want to create this landfill. She would do things like every second Wednesday, it was based out of New York. So in New York, every second Wednesday, they'd have, at a local pub, they'd have 30% off, 30% happy hour, but just for women, right? And why 30%? And why only for women? It's because women globally at that time, this was about 6 years ago, even in New York, right, were getting paid 30% less than their male counterparts. So men doing the same job. Things was able to grow from 0 to 50, not because they were selling period underwear. There were other companies doing it, but because of this, they stood for something that women believed in, women identified with, and stood for a cause. So that's how important the female consumer is, the female psyche is, and why it's so important to have women also in your teams, all the way from, say, associate and looking after them, up to board level.